Hello, shooters, loaders, and casters. Welcome to the Georgia Shooting Connection Friday Night Live stream. We hope y'all had a great week. Kyle, do that thing you do.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to a wonderful, wonderful Friday evening. Somebody got an echo. Got to get off work early on a Friday, which is always good. Went and did my civic duty. If y'all don't know what that is, do a little research. We don't talk politics here. Was a great week. Nothing catastrophic happened, so I'm just ready to get down with my brothers and sisters in the live chat and on the panel, and let's share a little information. Go ahead, Walter.
Well, hello, everybody. Boy, it's a pleasure to be here again with this great group on the panel, and another nice Friday evening. I've been looking forward to it all week. I did some shooting this week a little bit, and got a couple videos out, and was in the garage this afternoon doing a little bit of lightweight loading. Yeah, didn't get too much done, but other than that, life's good here in Casa de Viejo. How about you, Gene?
Hey, nice to see you. Nice to see you, Walter. Nice to see everybody on the panel, everybody in the side chat. Welcome to another Georgia Shooting Connection. Going to have a great night tonight. This last week, I got a bunch of videos up. I got some new items in the review. It's crazy what people just send you. I take it. I'm not picky. I'll take it all, good or bad. I don't care. We're gonna have a good night tonight, man. I'm ready to get my schooling on. Mr. Chris.
Well, thanks for the invite. It's glad to be back on here. It's finally got a Friday night. I didn't have anything to do. Doesn't happen too often. So I'm getting excited. Thursday night, I leave for Tulsa, heading out to the Wanamaker Gun Show, and going to be heading out there with Jason Stewart, and we're going to be meeting up with Gizzard Gary, Ghost Tactical, Clover Tack. So I'm starting to get the excitement rolling now. I'm ready to get out there with them guys.
That's pretty cool.
Buck's going to be out there, Tactical Fud. So we're going to have a great time. Mock, what have you been up to?
Been pretty good work week. Ready for a couple days off. Hopefully going to go hunting tomorrow, but like we talked earlier, it's warm, windy, going to be rainy tomorrow. We may just turn it into a range day. But it's good to see everybody. Thanks for having me on. Good to see y'all in the side chat. So we'll pass it up to Mr. C Dub.
Hello, everyone. Great to see everyone in the side chat. Good to see everybody on the panel as always. I had a busy day today. I think I put up 4 or 5 videos, and it was a good day. It's a good day all around. Got a lot done. Got a lot more I want to do. It's good to be able to stretch my legs a little bit. Got stuff done here on the home front to allow me to do that. So that was good. That was really good. Jamie, what do we got on store for our first topic?
Excuse me. You called my name right as I'm coughing here. Hold on a minute. 35 already out there. Wow, guys, welcome in. Somebody asked a question last week right as we were getting off about alloying our lead, and we've talked about that fairly extensively on here before, but we'll at least do a quick rundown. We're going to go through the panel, see what we did shooting and reloading wise before we get too deep into that. But I just do simple math. I just average my BHNs, but we'll get into that deeper in a minute. Another question we had was 7.62 by 54R. We may talk about reloading that here in a little bit. And we had another email question to CW from Tactical FUD that we'll dig into pretty deep about load development. So should be a fun night. We got 3 topics to talk about already, and we ain't even got started yet. I casted some bullets this week with that guy's mold. Uh, a Lyman 4 cavity 452 200 grain truncated cone. That sucker is heavy. See how much bigger my forearms are this week?
Bye-bye.
Yeah, baby.
Getting you some man love arms on.
Trying to. I got to get myself back in. Anybody else do anything? Mock, I know you did.
A couple weeks ago, we talked about our next purchase, and I went ahead and scored mine. It was a 450 Bushmaster rifle, Ruger American. Guy was selling quite a few rounds with it too, so I feel like I got a pretty good deal on it. I'm going to enjoy it. So ordered some 7.62 by 54 brass, got it in today. Shot your bullets, Jamie, and they turned out pretty good. About a 1-inch group at 50 yards. The Cast Gas Check 200 grainer. I can't remember the mold number, but
I powder coated these this week too.
nice. It's a good bullet. I figured it would be. So
it's the 429 215.
That's it.
If I remember correctly.
That's it. Good bullet. Right up there with the 200 grainer I got. So I just used the same powder, and it turned out just about the same. A little high and right, but it grouped real well. So other than that,
what powder?
H4227.
Okay.
Yeah. That's about it for me as far as firearms. I met the boys from work, and well, the old job anyway. We got together, so it was nice to see everybody.
I did this too. I got about maybe 1/3 to halfway full of the 429 421. I want y'all to get a good look at that. That powder coat's called Pewter, and I think it's from the powder coat store. Chico, the man, gave me this, and this powder coat. I mean, it is a thin coat, but it goes on excellent. Come on, focus. Anyway, this is the Keith bullet for 44 Magnum, but I don't have a 44 Magnum, so I'm shooting 44 Special, and that's a lot of work in that can. That's about that full, but I have a single cavity mold, so a lot of work in there.
Yeah.
Not bad.
But they're all going to be the same size and weigh the same, man.
With the exact same dimensions all the way around, right?
A couple years ago, a friend of a friend begged and pleaded me to cast bullets for him. Couldn't get him. The only mold I had that he wanted was a single cavity, and he wanted 500 bullets.
Mm-hmm.
That was a lot of casting.
Yeah. Taco.
The whole day's work right there.
Who else did something in the old firearms world?
I got.
I shot my last match Saturday for the year. Sunday we had our range day with Hot Pot and Miss Hot Shot, and that was a lot of fun. Right now, reloading wise, I ended up with about 800 180 grain Federal Hydro Shocks that I'm going to load up into 10 millimeters. So I'm filming that right now using some power pistol. I'll try something different.
I like power pistol in 10 millimeter.
So
I have not been able to find power pistol for. I had a 1 pound of it a few years ago and used it up, and I haven't been able to get any since the pandemic hit. I got other stuff, but no power pistol.
Yeah, I'm down to about 1.5 pounds, so I need to find some too, because it's going to go real quick with that amount of bullets that I got.
Man, I'm telling you, for 45 ACP, that is my absolute favorite powder. I love that power pistol and 45 ACP.
Yeah,
Kyle, did you do?
that's
I'm
what
sorry.
I had it for, was my 45.
Yeah, I've never tried it there. I'm stuck on 231, and 231 just does everything I need.
Clean shot does pretty good for me. I got scored a bunch of that clean shot when it was easily available. So still got 3 or 4 pounds of that.
Trees are blowing. Welcome up in here, man.
Howdy, Don.
And we got Mr. Taco out there. Uh, couldn't have gotten a better winner for the air rifle, Taco. Uh,
Yeah, that was
this
me.
year Jackson will put it to good use and make some good videos. That you couldn't have sent it to a better, couldn't have got a better winner for that. Good job.
I ended up
I
taking
loaded
a
380 all week.
coworker's. Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say I loaded some 380 stuff this week, and only because A, I didn't have any 380 loaded at all, and B, a couple of months ago I got a hold of some Sig Sauer primed brass, new brass but pre-primed. I'd never used anybody's pre-primed brass before, so I kind of wanted to see how that went. It wasn't real cheap, but it was the same price as their unprimed new brass. So I figured, well, what the heck? My 380 supply was down a little bit, so I bought some, and it
And you're
was a
saving
little bit of
6
an
cents
experience.
round by not having to use your own primers.
Well, yeah, and there's no hazmat fee when you have
Right.
primed brass shipped to you, so you save a little bit there. But that brass is thick. The case walls on it are thick, and it messed with my diameter a little bit at the case mouth of the loaded round. And you can only crimp it down so far onto a cast bullet, and it was about 1,000th thicker diameter or case wall thickness right at the case mouth. So that makes the loaded case 2,000ths thicker than normal. So it was a little tricky to make sure it was going to feed in both my 380 firearms. So, and I did some couple videos with that this week.
That video was awesome. It was good. You did a heck of a job with the GoPro too. That was cool.
That's the first time I ever used it, and then you could tell I had it stuck on my. Trying to cram that thing because I got ears on, over the ball cap, and trying to mash that sucker on there and figure out how to do that with that little alligator clip thing that's on. I don't know. I finally got it done.
You had the angle perfect.
Yeah, look good.
Okay, Kyle, you were going to say something, then we're going to get to Taco's question. There's a lot of answers already hitting the side chat, so go for it, Kyle.
I ended up doing a little bit of gunsmithing work. Co-worker's sister had a 1911, and he said, "I don't know what's wrong with it, but it's locked up. I can't do anything with it." Well, it had a stuck round in it, a complete cartridge. It wasn't a squib load or anything like that. I ended up getting it freed up, totally disassembling it, cleaning it, polishing it, giving it a little trigger love and all that. And actually was told yesterday she took it to the range, and that's the best that thing's ever shot in her life. So I was happy with that.
Good deal.
Okay, so now to our question for 357 Magnum load.
2400 or H110. That's me.
I'll agree with that.
I do not have 2400. I have not seen 2400. I have never tried 2400. So I use Shooter's World, heavy pistol, and I'll use H110. Just not at the same time and in the same case.
I like
You don't blend them like your spices and stuff when you're cooking.
No duplex loads?
No.
I like power pistol, which is be the same as the heavy pistol for Shooter's World.
Yeah, I use heavy pistol in my 44s.
Yeah.
4227 is a good one. It's not a favorite, but it's another good powder if you need to use it too.
There's a published load, and I argued Big E down about this, and he shut me up. But there's a load out there on Hodgson's website, 20 and a half to 22 and a half grains of H110.
No way.
7 Magnum. This is published data.
What weight?
Will that even fit in there?
What weight bullet?
I think it's 125 grain.
It's a hot load.
Yeah.
Very hot. I use 21 and a half and 44 mag. I'm pushing 1,500 feet per second.
I used to load a lot of H110 with 140 grain bullet, and I think 19 was a maximum load, and it was a flat primer. It was a hot load. It was real snappy.
I used to know what my feet per second was till I shot my chronograph with Jamie.
My favorite powder for 327 Magnum and heavy loads is Blue Dot. I've used 2400 as a classic, and all of them work good. But I like Blue Dot. But I'm shooting more cast than jacketed.
Well, it's like this, Walks. I refuse to call myself less of a man because 2400 is not available in my area. But that's definitely on my to-do list. I can't wait. Taco says 240 grain lead, around 143 grains of zinc. Can you imagine a full house 44 Magnum load or 357 load for that matter with a zinc bullet? Golly.
The Lyman manual showing 22 grains of H110 with a 125 grain bullet.
Yeah. What does it say for velocity?
1506 at 42,000 CUP.
Wow.
That's a compressed load, of course.
What does it have heavy pistol data in there? It seems like my load is 14 and a half grains.
That's the Lyman. Let me grab the Shooter's World manual here. Heavy pistol.
Heavy pistol and 357 Magnum.
All right.
Mr. Hester?
I'm telling you, I've been doing it for years, but it still makes me cringe a little bit on compressed loads.
The highest charge in 357 Magnum for what grain bullet, Jamie?
Just go with the standard 158 grain.
12.1 at 1296 feet per second.
What about 125?
125 is 15 grains at 1692 feet per second.
So that's what I loaded, and I think I stopped at 14 and a half.
Yeah.
So there's that.
Yeah, there's that.
Man, that Shooter's World heavy pistol's good stuff, though. It shoots good groups. If you guys have not tried it, I would highly recommend giving it a shot.
Well, it's good for your subsonic loads as well in your 300 blackout. Some guys are using it.
It's rather clean burning, too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Do
know.
they have any kind of suggested restrictions for not going to minimums with it like we do with H110 or, not going below?
Starting load.
I don't know. I have to check that out.
I saw Michael Hurtneck out there. Did you ever get that SKS cleaned up and take it out and shoot it?
I know he got it.
Yeah.
And that thing don't need a whole lot of cleaning up, man. That thing's, I'm telling you, that's an unissued gun.
You rub that baby down with some acetone and leave it out in the sun for a day and do it one more time and you're ready to roll.
158 grain.
Yeah.
With a jacketed bullet, I like a 170. They don't make that anymore, the one that I used to like. But 140 with a hollow point was my favorite.
And Ozark.
Overall, I like about a 158, 160 LBT shaped bullet, wide flat nose.
I don't really have a favorite just yet. The only pistol I have has got the short chamber, so I'm kind of limited on my overall length. But right now, I like the 130 grain cast I got from Accurate Molds. It's fun to shoot. Beautiful gun, too. I said short chamber. I meant short cylinder.
Tommy Boy's getting the shooter's world.
That's good.
Oh, they had some at the gun shop when I was there. Right? They had a whole load of powder in, but all they had was SOCOM, and I almost got it because the price was good. But there's not a lot of data out there for that powder with other calibers besides the 458.
Yeah, me and Jamie were fortunate enough to go to a gun show where the Shooter's World rep was there, and he gave us a lot of information, and then we picked some up when we went to Nashville too. So we've got load data for almost every powder they've got for a wide range of bullets. Now all we got to do is find the powder.
That's a good load, Reloader 762. 2400 is a good powder. I've been saving it for my Milsurp loads, though, the 308s and the 762s.
I really like it in the rifles with cast bullets.
Yeah, and I can't find it anymore, so I'm kind of being conservative with that powder.
I picked up a pound of Clean Shot last month. I haven't used it yet.
It's good stuff, yo. Good
It
stuff.
was on the local guy's shelf. He had one jar of it, and I bought it just to try.
You got the manual? Walter, you got a manual for that powder? Okay, yeah, good. All right.
Yeah.
Clean Shot's good powder.
Every powder that I've got from Shooter's World has been good powder.
They were conservative with their numbers in the beginning. Some of the loads, I went for the lighter side. They felt really light, so you could, jump them up till you found your pressures. But I think they were just, that was for the lawyers. They were being conservative for good reasons.
Yeah, that heavy pistol was amazing. I love that stuff.
Yep.
There was 67 Rebel.
I grabbed some True Blue a couple weeks ago. Willie's favorite. I haven't tried it yet.
Anybody got any good low data for Green Dot?
Green Dot. There's a lot of data out for that. It's just an older powder. They don't use it much anymore. You got to look in older manuals. What caliber?
Yep.
So I just got a message across my phone that said November 10th, the new Frankfurt Arsenal X10 will be released on their website. So if anybody was looking for that press, it looks like it's finally the real deal.
Is that the progressive or the single stage?
The progressive.
Yeah.
So they're going to sell 50 units of the X10 directly from the website starting at 10 a.m. Central Standard Time on Thursday, November 10th. And if you do the pilot program, you get a free shell plate with it. So anyway, I thought I'd share that because that just came across my phone.
Taco, let me tell you something about that statement right there. I am so popular. Did you know that Herschel Walker is texting me almost every day right now? And President Trump is texting me about twice or three times a month,
Right.
and
Excuse me.
How rude.
yeah, really, there ain't no excuse for that. Uh, there was another thing we need to talk about. Ozark says he likes True Blue. What? Taco? You mean Herschel really don't care anything about me personally? Yeah, I know.
I tried calling him back. He didn't answer.
I know. I texted him back and told him I'd already voted. I'm like 6 shooter text and I already voted. Do y'all know that there's already been over 2 million votes cast in the state of Georgia through early elections? And honestly, that makes me slightly nervous with our recent track record.
I thought there was only about 1.8 million people that lived in Georgia. So am I wrong about that?
There's over 10 million people in this state.
I was about
Well,
to
you
say,
got
there's that
20%
many
of
in
them.
one
You're
county.
doing good.
Yeah, how many registered voters though?
Yeah, probably about 1.8 million, like Walter said.
I went and did my due diligence today, so
Yep.
had to
So
wait an
It's going to
hour
be
in line
interesting.
to do it.
Oh, yeah, I remember. There you go, Mike. Mr. Rebel.
Go dog, sick 'em, woof woof.
I know. It's going to be
I'm
ugly.
worried about tomorrow, Jamie. I'm worried about tomorrow.
Why? Don't be worried. It's just a football game.
Full lead taco still waiting for AOC to text him.
She ain't figured out how to use the phone yet.
Somebody asked the question. No, David Walcott, we're not going to talk about pancakes or waffles. Um,
What about
And-
Belgian waffles? Would Belgian waffles fly?
well, that's my choice, but what
Only if
I
they're topped with fruit.
strawberries and chocolate syrup.
Talk to me.
Somebody want to know how much a pound of Shooter's World powder is. Back
16.
when Kyle and I first started using Shooter's World powder, I was buying it from this is pre-COVID, probably during the uh, Obama administration. We were getting it for some of it a little bit less than $20 a pound, particularly Shooter's World.
Yeah, I was going to say the average I thought was about 22 to 24.
On average, some of it is more expensive, like your like the yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Now that's clean shot, right?
Yep.
We were paying
$30.
we were paying $17.99 for that.
I went through a lot of that.
Yep.
I can still pick up the Shooter's World Major for $20 a pound at the
That's good.
commercial reloader by where I live.
Yeah, but when you get to precision rifle, which is almost the same thing as Varget,
Yeah.
and they're 4350, which is same burn speed as Hodgdon and IMR 4350. That's $50 a pound, just like the rest of it around here.
Yeah. They're making their money.
That SOCOM was $29 still.
It's not bad. It's got a lot of good uses.
Everybody thought I was stupid by buying 4 and 8 pound jugs of powder whenever I could find them. But now I'm the one that they come to.
No,
Yeah, right.
smart. I never thought it was dumb.
But then
I'd
again, I
never
would
think it was
unload
dumb.
1,000 rounds of 40 cal or 45 or 9mm at a time in one sitting. So you can go through it.
Okay, Hot shot. What's your favorite 357 Magnum load?
Power pistol on a 158, and I have not loaded any for a few years now because I do not own a 357. But when I did, no, I know, I see that. I sold it before my divorce. You know, that divorce kills a lot of things, and that killed my gun collection too.
Yep.
You know, we lose a lot of stuff in divorces.
Yeah, so I'm getting it built back up, but yeah, 158 over power pistol is what I loaded.
I've almost recuperated my dignity.
Chris, you got a favorite 357 load?
No, you know I don't. I don't own a 357, so never loaded for it.
I suspected that, but I didn't think you'd admit it on live TV.
I knew it was going to come around to me at some point.
I don't have much 357 brass anymore, or I'd be tempted to buy something to put it in. You know, I got to have at least 100 rounds of something before I buy the tool for it.
Cream cheese.
You know, like that little 380 I just got. Chris hit me to where some brass was at, so I went and picked up the brass, and then I went and picked up the tool, and man, that thing's fun to shoot.
Yeah, I think that's a common thing. At some point when you're collecting this stuff up and you're separating it out, there's a point where you quit looking for somebody to send it off to help them out, and you just start looking for a firearm to load it and shoot it in. I ain't sure where that line is, but I know it's out there.
Well, I thought I would never shoot 380. I thought I never would. And I had, one of those red coffee cans full of 380 brass. And I ended up doing some trading with Jesse B. Yes, because he was shooting 380. Then I started picking it up again. So, man, I'm not giving it away again. I'm just going to make use of it.
Yeah, it was real hard to find for a while, but you can find, once fired brass. All the kind of standard guys have once fired brass out there. And I used to be able to get lots of it at my gun club, but people kind of just stopped shooting the 380, and there just wasn't a whole lot. I go pick up a gallon bag of mostly 9mm brass, and there might be a dozen pieces of 380 in there, and that'd be it.
I found quite a bit of 380 brass in the corner in my basement where I throw it when I was reloading 9mm.
Okay, here he is, y'all. Everybody together. Y'all ready? On 3. 3, 2, 1. Hey!
Let's go.
That's better than last week.
Much better than last week. Last week we sounded like a
dying
like
cat.
a record with a rock on it.
There were 6 dying cats in a room full of rocking chairs.
I was thinking Irish drunks, but yeah.
I'll go ahead and throw the warning out there for anybody getting into 357. Watch out for some of the Hornady brass. It's 20,000 shorter.
Only the FTX stuff.
From the FTX stuff. Just
the same thing for pretty much any FTX in a revolver case.
Yeah, Hornady does what they want. And they break the rules, so you got to be careful with their brass.
Yeah, anything FTX pretty much is a shorter brass.
Ozark, I think that is, of course, CW knows better than I am. I'm trying to remember numbers right off the top of my head, but the 358477 is what pops in my mind. That is a wonderful bullet. I like it so much I have 2 molds. One is Lyman, the other is NOE that I won from Mr. Taco a long, long time ago, before he even knew who I am.
That's been a minute, yeah. I
Yeah.
remember that.
Yeah, it's a great bullet.
And
He's the one that got me started in 44 Magnum.
that night, yeah. And the NOE mold is gas checked. And matter of fact, I got some of these right here. I think that's them. I think that's too little though. That's a lighter bullet, but these are sized. They might just look like it. I sized these down to 356 to load for the 350 Legend, and just plinking stuff for the 35 Remington. But that brings up another point. How many of you guys still do plinking loads? I mean, with primers. I mean, our fun type casting and shooting and
I do.
not as prevalent as it once was.
I shoot them. I don't load them anymore.
Yeah. I've managed to keep up with primers. I've been paying the price, but I like to shoot. So when I see primers, I've got them, and I've got plenty right now. What I feel to be is plenty. So I cast, load, shoot, rinse and repeat, but not like I used to. I used to shoot 500 rounds a week when primers were 2 cents. So now I'm shooting 200 rounds a week, and that's
Well,
it. But
well, Reloading Unlimited right now has ZSR small pistol primers, 1,000 count, $72.99.
yeah, that's good in today's market, especially if you can go pick them up and don't have to do hazmat with them.
How
Well,
much did you say they were, Gene?
$72.99.
Pretty good.
I mean, if you order 4,000 to 6,000 of them, that eats up. That equals out the hazmat and shipping fee.
Yeah.
So you're still getting them for a good price. You're still paying around 80 1,000 with hazmat and shipping by buying 4,000. So in today's market, paying 8 cents a primer is a good deal.
Yeah, it is.
It's
a sad state of affairs, but you're absolutely right.
That's what I was going to say. It still ain't great, but it is what it is.
What are you going to do? You're going to pay it, or you're not going to shoot?
Well, I still go to the range to go plinking, like you seen, me and Chris and the family went shooting. That's just all plinking rounds. So I still load up and go to the range and blow a few hundred rounds at a time. And
I agree with what Chico said. Go plinking with 22s. They're cheap.
Yeah, they're not as cheap as they used to be either, but they're still cheaper than paying a dime for a primer and plus your bullet and plus your powder. But I did a little short video last week about a bunch of plinkers that I've been loading just because I have been sitting on a big stash of extreme plated bullets forever that I bought several years ago, and I got like 25 cartons of those things sitting in here. I thought, I might as well go shoot those up too. So I've been loading some bunch of plateds to go take to the range and just blast away and get trigger time with instead of shooting up my lead reserves.
Yeah, I've still got some 22 from 15 years ago from when I lived in Vegas when it was $8.99 for 550.
Yeah.
Okay, we got to go through the side chat. So if you want us to say hello to you, type in 357 in the side chat and we'll call you out.
Walter's on it.
We got Vallejo, a.k.a. Walter.
You still can't say that right.
Yeah, love you, brother. MCK in the side chat and in the panel. Babby's Lead Games. Hey, Ricky. Paul Loud, Tommy Boy, Abigail Finnegan, Edward Petty, Trees Are Blowing, Andre D'Angelo, Mario Muzzin, Michael Dunn, GGW Outdoors, Corners and Doors, Hasbro, Georgia Shooting Connection. I take that's CW.
Not me. Must have been Kyle.
6-Shooter Texan, Chris 338, David Walcott, Mr. Pollard, Tactical FUD, MSB 9021, Walks Fletcher, Reloader 762, Ozark Spirit, Daniel God is my judge, Jason Stewart, Tim S., Full Ed Taco, Chico Wise, Hobbies Hobo, Chico Wise, the Yeho. Is that better?
Yeah.
Do that. Yeah.
Senior Master Sergeant Bulldog, Chris from the 740s in the side chat and on the panel. We're glad he's here. CW. Who'd I miss? Jason Stewart, Michael Hurtneck, DSCZ52. Welcome in, brother. Michael Dunn and Mr. Pollard. Pretty cool. I'm showing we got 49 of y'all watching. Thanks for being here. And let's get to our number one topic now that we've almost killed an hour without talking about it. Alloying our lead.
Horrible.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
Ozark,
Ozark,
I
you
talk
can
nice
take
about you again.
you can take the boy out of the country, but what can I say? There you go. Oh,
That was good. That was funny.
and Hasbro 90% lead, 10% cornbread. And let's just go ahead and get it out of the way where y'all can load up the side chat with the answer. How many of y'all put sugar in your cornbread? Bang.
Nope.
Derailed. We have officially derailed.
We have.
Officially off the rails.
Back to the topic, though.
Thanks, JP.
I like the. I just do the simple math method. I do, but to do that and do it accurately, you've got to. You have to test how hard your lead is, and that could be one or two pieces out of a batch. Like if you're out there and you got a pot going that you're smelting and you're getting ready to get the clips and all that kind of stuff up, and you put your sawdust in there and all that stuff. One or two pieces that you
Brought to you by.
This portion of the broadcast brought to you by Jiffy Mix.
I'm going to send them a bill.
So when we're testing BHN, what is the best time to test the batch you just did?
Well,
2
still
weeks
good
after
for
you.
the pot.
Yeah, the hardest changes, and it kind of follows a curve. Gradually, it goes up and then it'll level off, and it can actually drop a little bit after about a year as that crystalline structure continues to form and change. But I usually wait a couple weeks if I really want to know, is it 14 or is it 20? But you can tell that with your fingernail with a pencil anyway.
You prove it to yourself. Every time I do a new alloy that I haven't done before, I'll leave a couple pieces out, and I got a bunch of little Ziploc bags, and I write on it what it is, a little piece of paper, stick it in the bag, and I read it, 10 minutes, half an hour, whatever, after casting, and then I check it a week later, 2 weeks later, 3 weeks later, a month later, and I just leave it on the shelf, and I just go back to it and keep checking it, and you can prove to yourself just how much it changes. Now, not all alloys are going to change, and not all alloys are going to change the same. Depends on your ingredients. If you're doing just tin and pure lead, you're not going to see a whole lot of difference. It's not going to change a whole lot at all. But if you're doing, a lot of lino or mono or super hard or something with a lot of copper and zinc, copper and arsenic and antimony in it, you're going to see, your biggest changes there.
And after a while, I think that most of us kind of get a feel for what we need to mix to achieve at approximately the correct hardness. I don't work too hard to get exactly at 95.55 if I want Lyman number 2. I know what I need to mix with my range scrap and a little bit of super hard and a little bit of tin, and the proportions will give me somewhere between 14 and 16. And that's close enough for most of what I'm going to do with a quote Lyman number 2 or 9262 type alloy. But if I was wanting to mix it real specifically, I'd start with pure lead and super hard from Rotometals and pure tin, and then get that spreadsheet that Bumpa 69, I think was his name, on the cast bullets for him. He made a spreadsheet that was pretty helpful. It's not exact, but it'll get you real close.
Yeah, postal scale, you can get really close to what you need. Mm-hmm. And then just with experience, like anything else, like Walter just said, I don't do it unless I need specific hardness, or a specific alloy. I know what it takes to make about what I want, and the good thing about that is it's with powder coating, it's not nearly as critical anymore.
Yeah, we can get by. For example, with my 9mm rounds, I can cast my range scrap comes in pretty uniformly. It's kind of interesting, but it's almost always BHN 9 until I powder coat and quench it, and then it'll gain a point. But that's all, and that's generally fine for a 9mm round, which is relatively high pressure compared to some of the other stuff we shoot, like 38 special is kind of low. But I used to cast my 9mm rounds when I was traditionally lubing quite a bit harder than that. I use a Lyman number 2 or get up to 16. Yeah.
Tommy boy, that range lead rather, was that some of the stuff that I sent you, or was that stuff that you get?
Yeah, some alloys will kind of spring back after you size them, and I think that's more of an issue with softer materials. That's my experience anyway. With the softer alloy, you'll size them and come back, and they might gain 1,000th back.
Hasbro's been doing the high tech lately. That's
my
good.
Wheel weights with a little tin for flow, usually around 13 to 14 BHN is my average, and I'm just using it across the board. Unless I'm doing rifle, I'll go ahead and quench them and get about 16, 17.
Wow, Walks. I hate to hear that, boy.
For what I do, shooting and just plinking rounds at the ranges, the events and stuff, I just use straight wheel weights. If there's any soft weights in there, which is usually very minimal, I'll just go ahead and add those to it. Have not seen any problems out of it. I have been reading about pewter, and that some old pewter actually contains lead, and that can be used for casting.
Yeah, it's lead and tin. Got quite a bit of tin in it.
Yep. I just had something pop into my head, Raj. I'll send you a text. And I'm not looking for it, but you had mentioned sending some lead. I never got it, so if you sent it, it's got lost. Just popped into my head when you made that comment there.
So I was reading some information on this. So if you have like soft lead pipes, the old lead piping, can you add pewter to that to make it hard, to make it flow?
you
It
can
will.
use it to make it flow, but adding tin to make something harder is a failing attempt. It's not worthwhile.
Well,
You'll add a tiny bit, but you won't. It's almost immeasurable.
isn't tin pewter or tin and antimony? Isn't that what pewter is made of?
I don't believe there's antimony in it. It's
Uh-uh.
pewter is mostly tin. It's just
There
it's
you go.
with tin.
Tommy Boy says all pewter has leads, 92% tin, 9% lead, and then other things. Hasbro's asking if there's any reasonable lead hardness testers. You're going to be hard pressed to beat the art pencils once you get your.
Yeah, they're really good and they're inexpensive.
Mhm.
Charts available online, or get a hold of me or one of the guys. We all have
Yeah,
chart.
I've got them too.
Works really
And they're
good.
easy. They're much easier than getting the mechanical devices out.
They work great. That's how I started. That's where I'm staying.
One, Lee is okay. LBT makes one. There's a bunch of companies that make them, but
Yeah.
pencils work fine.
Mm-hmm. And they're not perfect, but they're close enough for us. And I have the Lee tester thing, and I compared the pencils, and they were always within one BHN of the other. You know, they're close enough. So
I think what helps. I think what helps.
Buddy.
Sorry, buddy.
I'm sorry. I was telling Taco good night. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Good night, Mike.
I was going to say one of our saving graces is the fact that we powder coat, so we got a bigger margin than if we were doing traditional looped. And I've learned that from these older fellas here that've been doing it for their whole life. But kind of a cheat sheet for us. We're using powder coat. We've got a big window of margin we can play in.
yeah, exactly. Particularly at the low end, you know, we can use a lower BHN and not worry about letting either in the barrel or at the end of the barrel, and, you know, that kind of thing, which was always kind of a deal. It was a thing when we were traditionally lubing. You were always watching for where that leading was showing up, just trying to figure out, well, why am I getting leading? Am I shooting too fast, too slow, too hard, too soft?
Yeah.
And kind of where that leading would show up was an indicator, and then you'd go back and change your recipe or change your loading process one way or the other. But powder coating mitigates a bunch of that. Just makes life easier.
I want to go back a couple of highlights there, Jamie. GGW, I highlighted them there and we skipped over them. He had a question about casting with PC and then testing. You do not ever want to test through the PC. It's not going to give you an accurate reading, because the PC actually has a hardness of its own.
Right.
So what I do is, and what I recommend you do is, just leave a couple bullets out. You know, you're going to cull some anyway, so just throw them on the side and use those as testers for your hardness.
Yep. I go ahead and throw them on the PC tray, the tray with the bullets, and run them through the oven and quench them. Just treat them just like you would with the coated ones, and then set them aside and, you know, let them rest a couple weeks. I always do that exact same thing. Probably
Good night,
learned it from
Freeze.
CW. Good night, Don.
Good night, Don.
I think we're going to benefit more from the oversized bullet traveling down the bore than we do BHN. And correct me if I'm wrong, guys, but you want them a little bit fatter so they get a good operation. And, you know, the BHN matters, but not so much with the powder coat. Once again, I think oversizing bullets is good to get a nice seal.
That was, you know, and that's still something of a holdover from traditionally lubed bullets. With the revolver, we were always concerned about making sure that bullet was at least as fat, if not 1,000th fatter than your cylinder throats.
Okay.
So that the base of that bullet would slug up and sort of seal the cylinder throat also, and not do a oxyacetylene torch thing around the sides of that bullet as it was moving towards the forcing cone. But lately, with powder coated, I've been running my bullets closer to bore diameter. You know, if I got a 429 bore and a powder coated bullet, I can size it to 429, and I'm not getting any problems doing that. You know, in fact, even if you look at Lyman's book, I'll shut my mouth on that one. Many of the cast bullet handbook I'm talking about, many of the calibers they show, for example, 44, they say there's bullets their cast bullets are sized at 429.
Hmm.
You know, but back in their chapters, in the front chapters, they say, well, maybe you should size them a thousandth over, and that would probably be true still for a revolver bullet, I think. But I think with my powder coating anyway, I have less issue with any leading things as long as my round is sized at least 2 bore diameter, and a thousandth over doesn't hurt. Cylinder throat diameter plus 1,000 doesn't hurt, but even cylinder diameter exactly is for me it's working out fine. But I think you got to test it out in your own firearms and see if it leads up or not. It does make loading the round a little bit easier with your PC and cast bullets. You're not worrying quite so much about shaving lead and powder coat if your bullet can be 1,000th thinner.
What was that question about the 54R brass? There you go. Graphs. I was going to say Diamond K has some too, whoever asked that. I think it was Michael Herdnick.
It was.
Okay. Yeah, Diamond K, I just picked up 50 from them. Decent price. It's all PPU and a few S&B primers or cases. Good looking brass.
Reloader 762 even went so far as to put in my link out there. That's pretty cool. Thanks, buddy. So, yeah, and then after we get what our hardness is and get it recorded, at that point in time, you can do. There's several formulas, and you can check the cast bullet forums for that. But I just do a simple average. And one thing I will do is I'll switch up colors. Like if I'm casting on Thursday night, and I keep all those bullets separate, and I powder coat them one color. Then if I cast again on Sunday, well, I'm throwing more stuff in the pot, and so I'm keeping them and powder coating them a different color so we can test the BHN on those.
That's a good idea.
I do the same thing. Another thing that I do is I alloy in my pot, meaning I mix to the hardness I want in my pot.
Me
I
too.
don't do it ahead of time. I don't smelt for alignment number 2 or for
Right.
weight hardness or whatever. I will smelt lino if I get it. I'll smelt it super hard if I get it, but I don't mix it, change it. And what I do with my hard alloys is I actually prefer the Lee mold because they give you half pounders and 1 pounders, because sometimes you just want that little bit of extra. You don't want a whole 1 pound bar. You've only got 3 or 4 pounds in your pot, 5 pounds in your pot. You're only going to cast 100 bullets, and it's a 22 caliber. So having that half pound ingot of super hard or lino or mono or whatever your hard alloy is really handy. One thing that I will do, and I'm very careful about when I do it, is, and I like to do it a lot, I do cast a lot with it, is the old-fashioned 10 to 1, 16 to 1, 20 to 1, 30 to 1, which is just soft lead, pure lead, and tin or pewter. And that all, I've got charts drawn up, written up to put in to give what I want. So if I've got a half a pot mixed, and I know I'm going to need more, I don't have to use the alloy formula for 20 pounds or 25 pounds. I can look on my chart and just mix up 5 additional pounds and put it in to fill a pot back up. And I do it with a postal scale. You just weigh out your tin, you weigh out your lead, you look on your chart, and you're done. There you go. As long as you know what your alloys are before you start alloying them, meaning you've got your lead. If you do it with range scrap, you're going to be starting out with something that's probably already as hard or harder than anything you're going to make with any of those, with the exception of maybe 10 to 1. 10 to 1 might be pretty similar to most people range scrap.
That's a good deal, 6 reloader. Miss Kitty, it sounds like those trolls you're bashing over at Uncle Jim's place told on you, if I had to guess. That's how you do it, guys. Some of the things that make just like mill circs, for example, um, 54R, 8 millimeter, that kind of stuff. They make great cast lead bullet hosts. They make great cast lead guns, but some of that stuff is weird and hard to find sometimes, and you'd be tempted to just go spend a bunch of money and get what you want, but patience is a virtue, and if you'll hold on, you'll luck up on a deal like that eventually. So we got Walter Davis out there has joined us. There's the Scottish American who's joined us. So folks keep coming in. Thanks for being here. Miss Kitty is here. So cool. I've got some 54R test loads loaded up now that I need to go see how they're going to do. They've been loaded up probably 6 or 8 months, if not longer. Good to see Scotsman out there. Come on in if you want, man.
You see my new bench, Walter? I think your mic must be.
The one you refurbished a couple days ago?
No, the new one I built by the casting bench.
No. Did you put a picture
on
in the text?
on your phone. Look later.
Oh, okay.
There's Johnny 1982's joined us.
Hey, man, good to see you.
Johnny.
There you go. Is that for 54R Tommy Boy or 8 millimeter Mauser? And Ozark's got a great point. If you ask all your buddies if they've got some odd brass and it's something you're looking for, oh man, you're supposed to be off tonight, Scotsman. What's up with all that? Got my man running 7 days. We had no doubt. We had no doubt, Miss Kitty. Tommy Boy says that's 54R. So I'm going to write that down. 19 to 21 grains of Shooters World Buffalo rifle is basically the same stuff. You use the same data, I think. Which there's not many you can do that with. There you go.
Vanessa, I think that's what they call TMI.
Man,
I hate colonoscopies.
Going for a ride on the Silver Snake.
Whoa.
Whoop whoop.
Several peanuts.
That's good advice. Which brings us to the next part of our topic for tonight, and we're going to leave that up there. CW, do you want me to read that email, or would you like to read it yourself?
No, you can read it. It's okay.
I probably should, seeing how you
Mouthful.
got a mouthful going on here. So
Yeah, he's eating too many chips. That's why he threw the mic at you.
uh, this is from, I think, Tactical FUD. Is that right, Buck?
From Buck, yeah.
My question is for a beginning reloader. Say you found the bullet, the powder and load that puts like a 3-inch group at 100 yards consistent. Then would you try different seating depths to bring the group tighter, neck turning, and so on? So my first answer uh, to my question is if you're shooting 3-inch groups at 100 yards, you're not ready to move on to the next step yet.
Yeah, there's something else, probably multiple something else is going on. If you're a 3-inch group out of just about any rifle at 100 yards, it's not doing quite that well.
The first thing I do is make sure I'm not into the rifling. I want to start 20 thousandths off my rifling. Then I got room to work closer or further back. 29 grains of 48.95 is where most 30 cows like it. But if I'm, see, we talked about this before, and our first choice is going to be our bullet. Go ahead, Chris. I'm sorry.
I wasn't saying anything.
When I'm doing my homework on anything, I looked for the most used projectile, the most used bullet, the most commonly used for accuracy. So I tend to start there.
It's hard to get away from that design bullet weight, isn't it, Hot Pot?
Yes, it is because it's already been proven. You know, that bullet weight, like for the 6.5, I've been doing a lot of homework on it. And there's bullet weights that are proven for accuracy with specific powders. So I want to stay with the recipes until I get to know the recipes, and then I'll start varying outside of them.
For example, what we're talking about is the weight and style of the bullet that it was released with. Like, say, 38 Special 357 Magnum, that 158 grain bullet was what it was designed around. Then 3030 is the 170 grain flat point. Um, 30-06, what was it? What was that bullet weight? Wasn't it about 150 grains back in the day?
The 06 was lighter. Yeah, the 03 was heavier. The 3003 was a heavier bullet, like the 3040, and then they redesigned it and brought out a lighter bullet.
The 30-06 projectile was preferably 167 grain.
.30-06 was 167.
Yep.
And that 8 millimeter Mauser was about,
They had two.
huh?
They had two bullet weights. They had a 200 and something grain, and they had 196. They had a 196, and they had a 170, something like that. 168, 165.
That's
Yeah.
what I was thinking around initially 195 is what popped into my brain.
Yeah, 196 was their heavyweight, and then they had a lighter one. I don't remember the exact weight of the lighter one.
I was
So
thinking
cheap
167, 168.
And the 308 was a 147.
Walks Fletcher says Ox 6 was 172 grains. 168 grain boat tail hollow point for 308.
Well, that's a good choice, but it was 147 for the 308.
That's funny. I shoot 208 grains.
Yeah. But the military designation,
I know.
7.6251, was 147.
I just found that my rifle loves those 208 grains. I can put them where I want them.
You had a light one too, Raj. What was the lighter one? I'm going to have to look it up. Get out of the chat and look it up.
That's cool, Michael. The Sierra TGKs Game Kings.
SGK? Oh, tipped Game King. And Chico wanted to know good powders for 300 Blackout. And I've said it many times, and if you go on the 300 Blackout forum, there's a lot of really great information over there, and on a lot of other forums as well. But you can do everything you ever needed to do in 300 Blackout with just 2 powders. And you can of course make a whole bunch of arguments for a lot of different ones that do the same things, but supers to subs, H110 296 on the one side, and then 1680 on the other side, and you can substitute.
Every gun's different. Me and Ozark and Uncle Jim proved that in our Three Amigos videos.
And then you can substitute in 300 black for 1680 because it's very, very close. You can substitute in one of the Shooters World powders because they're very close, and you could substitute in little gun instead of H110 or 296 because they're very similar. But those 2 powders and those 2 burn rates will do everything the 300 Blackout ever needed to do.
So what is 4227 similar to what you just said? Because I've had really good luck with 4227.
4227 is a great powder, and there's many great powders that'll work with it.
Right.
But just saying, those 2 that I named will do everything you need to do. Now, having said that, my most accurate load ever came with 4227. So I agree, it's a great powder.
No, I totally got what you were saying. I didn't know if the 4227 was close to any of the ones you were talking about. Because I've never used 110
No,
yet.
not really. It's kind of in the middle. It's kind of in the middle. It's a little bit faster, but it's a good powder. You know, you can do a lot with it. It's not the best on subs, but it does good with supers, and it does good with supers when they get a little bit heavier. It's a little bulky, so it's not going to be as efficient on the really light bullets. But you know, every barrel is different, like Kyle said. So you know, you're going to find, you know, you're going to say, "Oh, Brian don't know crap." I use XYZ powder and it shoots one whole group. So every gun's different, you know.
And like I was saying,
it's the only one. I was just saying it's the those 2 powders will do everything you need to do.
I'm shooting out of an 8.5-inch barrel, and I get better luck with little gun with heavier bullets, and 4227 with like 110 grain bullets.
Well, I've got a real prejudice against little gun, and it's well earned. It's spiky, and it burns way too hot for my any of my semi-automatic firearms. It just burns hot. You shoot 5 shots out of that and 5 shots out of 296 or number 9 or 2400 or any one of the other powders that are very close, and it won't be near as hot. And heat kills barrels, so I don't use it. I do have it, and I do use it for a couple of loads for a couple of calibers, but none of them are semi-autos.
Tommy Boy says little gun's a 4-lettered word.
Yep, he don't like it either, and for the same reason. We're on the same page. We've talked about it many times in the forums. It has its place, but it's
well, it was originally designed to be a 410
yeah,
shotgun.
it's really good there, and that's one of the places I use it.
I love tight group JCM. Love it.
Tight group for certain things like 9mm and 40.
45.
I use a lot of tight group too. I've always used
Yeah,
tight group and 9mm and 40, as Jamie said. But it does react with your powder coat.
I love little gun and 450 Bushmaster.
Try number 9.
Huh?
Try number 9.
Okay.
Accurate number 9.
That boys out there. Hey Ben, how you doing? So yeah.
The claim to fame with little gun and why most people like it is because it tends to give you the most velocity at any given powder, and that's people are just velocity hounds. But it has enough negatives to at least warrant trying another powder. You're going to lose a little bit of velocity, but you're not going to lose a lot. It's minimal.
Yeah, Ozark didn't like little gun either in his 300. I'm still waiting on a video from Hurt Neck about that rifle.
Mark, you just got a 450, so what are you planning on loading with?
I use 4227 and H110. I was running into problems with ignition with the H110, but we got through all that. So
how'd the 4227 work?
Good. Works good.
Yeah,
good groups. Yeah. It's a good powder. I plan to try that in the 500 Beowulf too. So
I might have to try that 4227 and 450.
Yeah.
It'll be something fun to try.
Chris, have you ever seen or used H110?
No.
Okay. You know how 4227 looks? The little bitty sticks? Okay. H110 is the complete and total opposite. It's
little
almost
bitty,
like little bitty bottles.
Yeah, it looks a lot like little gun.
Okay.
Yeah.
It meters really well.
Well, I got a lot of 4227. I might have to work up some 450. I might want to try that.
Yeah, do that. You'll find good results. I've in the AR platform. I've got good results. I haven't shot any in the rifle yet, but I will. So I'll keep you all posted.
Yeah, because I got the same gun you just got.
Okay, the rifle, not the AR. Okay.
Yeah, 4227 is a great powder.
Yep, all around.
Yeah, it really is. It's an oldie. It's a goodie.
Man, look at all these video ideas I'm getting now.
I was getting some unburnt powder on a couple loads, but I think when you get things right and your pressure's right, I think it burns just fine.
Cool.
H110, man. Well, any of those powders like that, they, especially when it's cold outside, they can present you with an ignition problem. And the way most folks combat that is use a Magnum primer, if you can find them.
Yeah, and going back to what you was just saying, Jamie, me and Ozark and Jim all had to go out and buy new powders when we did that Three Amigos videos because everybody wanted to try a different powder with a different bullet. That was a lot of fun. We need to try that again.
H110's the stuff, guys. And tight group's good too. I mean, it shoots nice tight groups, just like its name says. I mean, and my 9mm it did.
Chris, you got the 50th lineman?
No.
I'll send you some pictures of the data out of that book on that 450.
Okay, yeah, I think the newest book I got right now would be the new Hornady, the 11th? I think it's the last one I bought.
All right, it's probably comparable, but I'll send you something out of the lineman you can play back and forth. And because I ran mine at the top end of the spectrum, they're pretty hot for the AR to get to cycle and run just fine. So we can back off for the rifle and find our accuracy. So
using 250 grain bullets or 225?
300 cast bullets from the man up there, the master caster.
Okay.
I started out with some Full Metal Jacket 250s and got it to run okay, but I think it likes 300 better for an AR platform. So
okay, I got 225 FTX and 250 FTX down there.
Do those in the rifle, no problems, because you're not having to cycle anything. You're just
Watch Midway for seconds.
Yeah,
they run them a couple times a year, and you can get a FTX bullet that's designed for muzzle loaders as a second. I bought a bunch of boxes of them, and that's what I'm shooting in my AR 450 under on top of Vitavoy 120 powder. Because I got a bunch of I didn't have a good, so I tried that.
Very good.
It's really good. It's nice. It's nice velocities, nice accuracy, and I didn't have any use for it, so it was a perfect fit.
There you go.
Awesome.
I saw a very good comment a little bit further up. They have a love-hate relationship with Tight Group because a little goes a long way. I mean, like I'm loading like 3.2 grains of Tight Group in my 9mm. 3.5 is overcharged. A little goes a long way, just like ram shot silhouette. You put one too many grains of powder in there and you've overcharged the case. I mean, you got to be careful with it. You can't just go, 4.5's fine. No, it's not.
Yeah, I've got a few pounds of Tight Group on my shelf because of that reason. I haven't touched it.
You got to have a very reliable powder measure, or just trickle it for every charge.
Anytime you got a powder like that, you want to trickle it. Don't even trust your powder measure.
Right. It's which I trust all my powder measures, or I don't have them anymore.
Yeah.
But there's a reason I have Dillon powder measures on my my Lee Loadmasters.
I got to find me some 2400.
Buy two, I'll come pick up a can. I love that powder.
We see it I see it regularly here. Right now, my store's got 25 pounds on the shelf.
Nice.
We see it around here, but
all right. It's been a solid month since I've walked into any gun shop with the situation I was in for a while, but I need to get back out there and see what's on the shelf before I run my mouth.
Oh, that's a great point right there. Thank you. That's a great point.
Yeah, that's why I like using CFE on all my 9mm, because if you double charge that, you're gonna know.
Yeah, some of the fluffier powders, they tend to fill the case. One on the plus, well, this may not be a big plus for Tight Group, but it's not very position sensitive. So if you're running a lower end charge on it, like in a 38 special or something, it doesn't seem to care that there's not that much powder, laying across, flat in that case, and it'll ignite and still give you consistent velocities at the lighter ends. Or some of the other powders I've tried doing that with lighter loads, velocities can be all over the place because the powders don't burn consistently at the light end. But Tight Group seems to.
It does. It seems like it's not. Uh, it don't matter where it's at in the case. That stuff's going to go, and a little does go a long way.
Yep.
I wonder what kind of problem Walt Fletcher had with Dillon powder measures.
I don't know. I've got 7 of them. They all run.
Yeah, I
great.
love mine. I
Yeah.
got 3 or 4 of them. I love them. I could use those instead of anything else and be perfectly happy.
I mean, to each his own, I guess.
Yep.
Which that's why we have these kind of chats. Everybody's got different ideas and different preferences and all that stuff, and we're just sharing our thoughts and impressions and ideas. That's what we do. Well, they're not cheap. But if you're running a progressive or a semi-progressive press, I haven't found too many that are better. Some rounds with some powders, I'll use the lead drum measures, the powder drum. But if I'm using tight group, I want to use a Dillon powder measure. I just have better luck with it. It's more accurate.
A good friend of mine loved Vitavoy powders, and he bought them all back when they were 2-pounders, and he had a couple of each, and he had a bad stroke and couldn't reload, couldn't shoot anything anymore, and sold off all of his stuff. But powders didn't ever go. So, of course, I knew him and trusted him. So I bought all of his powders. They were open bottles and such. I bought all his powders. So I've got a full selection of Vitavoy powders. And I didn't use them much either because, frankly, they used to be expensive, and largely because people didn't know they were 2-pound bottles, not 1-pound bottles. And you're used to spending $15, $18 on a pound of powder, and these were 35 and 40. So, why would you buy those? But then now I've got them, and I got to look for places to use them. And I tell you, I love 140. 140 to 308 is really nice. I'm learning to like 160 in the 7 mag, and 110 doesn't get the velocity that I like with H110 or 296, but it's a pretty good powder. It's accurate. And I had, a couple, 3 bottles of that 120 with no place to use it. So when I started having problems with the 450 Bushmaster, I decided to try that powder, and I had 0 problems with it, and I get almost the velocity and every bit as good accuracy. So I'm really happy with it. I don't know that I would have been using it otherwise, but the situation put it in my hands, and I like it.
That 3N37 works real good in 9 mil.
I've got some. Yeah.
I've only got one jar of Vitavuri, and I bought it right in the big middle of the pandemic when there was nothing available, and a jar of N320 showed up on one of my local gun shops, and I bought it, and then this is absolutely backwards from the way you're supposed to do it, but I bought the jar and then brought it home and said, okay, now what am I going to do with it? And I discovered through trial and error. Well, I came up with a load that works really, really, really well with a 100 grain plated 380 ACP round. And that stuff shoots so accurately and so consistently. I tried it with some of my cast bullets, and it didn't seem to do quite as well with those. Just wasn't very consistent. And that's probably the bullet design more than the powder. But I like that stuff, and I've already probably loaded and shot 500 plated 380 bullets with that powder. It works great. It's pricey. I think I paid $45 for that jug, but like I said, it's a 2-pound jug. So.
I scored some Nancy 340 Voodoo powder, and it works pretty good for a lot of stuff. It works real good.
See what you did there.
You see, one of the reasons I never bought Vitavory was because it was so blame expensive.
Right.
Well, when you're looking at it and it's $45, and you look at some Hodgson powders that you're used to paying $31, $32 for, all of a sudden Vitavori ain't that bad a deal when that Hodgson powder is now $51, $52 a pound.
Right. And this is from the American Reloading, the pull down bullets. I've been using that place for a couple of years now, and I scored it pretty good and cheap for 5 pounds. So.
Yeah, the Vitavori ain't a bad deal at all anymore.
If you can find it.
Yeah.
Chico, we used to get cardboard bottles, but not glass. I never saw any glass bottles.
Yeah, he used to have cardboard containers with metal tops and bottoms on them. Never thought that was a good idea.
So we need to talk about we probably need to talk some more about our question from the email. If you can't get better than a 3-inch group, you need to keep trying different powders, I think.
Or charges.
What gun is he using?
He didn't say. Just a hypothetical, I think.
And we're all over the board, like you said, CW earlier, with the barrel sizes and everything else, the chambers and stuff. I'd say get some brass fired in your gun, get it, keep it for that gun, and then start working your way up. And don't change too much at once. Only try one little bite here and one little bite there, because there's so many variables. You can figure it out, but don't know what you did. So take little bites with your powder. My Mosin, it's an M44 with a 312, 313 bore. Loves 180 grain cast bullet. And those are from Jamie, and I'm getting about an inch group at 50. Just for iron sights for me and these old eyes is pretty good. So
I like the way you put that, little bites.
Well, you do, and even it's just like everything else. You can't change more than one thing because you don't know what did it.
Johnny,
yeah, I've developed my 308 round is I like the ballistic coefficient of the bullet, and it was real hard to find any load data for it. So I started really low, and then I went up. I loaded 5 rounds here. I loaded 5 rounds with 2/10 more of a grain, 5 rounds with 2/10 more, and I actually took my press to the shooting property, screwed it to the picnic table, and sat out there and loaded rounds. And eventually I was hitting the same hole at 100 yards with that bullet. Then we went out 250 yards. And I said, yeah, here's my load. We're done.
That's a loaded question, Johnny, but some of my rifles only get neck sized. That old Mosin, I just neck size it. I use the full length sizer, but I don't go all the way home with it. I just seat it enough to where I know it's going to chamber, and it's dedicated to that rifle. So
something you realize about that, though, is you need to start with either factory ammo or full length size.
Yes.
Because you want to make sure that brass came out of that particular gun before your neck sizing. And
starting point, yes, you're right. Sorry, yeah, I'm out of order there. But
even with neck sizing, there's neck sizing dies that really only neck size, and then there's partial sizing that you can do with a full length sizer. And it's what guys will say, it's neck sizing. I'm using the full length sizing die, just backed out. Well, that's actually partial sizing. You are sizing the neck, but you're also hitting the body. When you're using a regular neck size or a real neck sizing die, you're not touching the body at all. And the reason for it is it fits your gun's chamber as precisely as it can because it was fired in that chamber. And to extend upon that further, it's really only a bolt action situation. Doesn't work as well or at all in semi-autos,
right,
or single shots. because the bolt action has a little bit better camming power to get the bullet in and out of the chamber, where you won't have that in an auto or a single shot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I try not to bump a shoulder too far back, and I know it's touching the body of the case. Just I don't cram it home, like I would on a fresh range scrap or brand new brass. So there's some variables.
I think 4 thousandths is probably minimal for a semi-auto platform, like an AR. But for a bolt action, 2 thousandths is about where you want to be. Just bump that shoulder back 2 thousandths. And partially size that thing.
Which is where your Hornady bullet comparator gauge comes into.
And if you wanted to take out some of the variables, just full length resize them every time and work your load up to an accuracy. Then start fine tuning the neck where the shoulder should be and stuff like that. That's a lot of science going on for someone that just wants a decent, group at 100 yards. But you can fine tune it down to, the same hole if you want to. Depending on the experience level of the reloader would dictate, how far they're going to go down that rabbit hole.
Yeah, but full length sizing every time, you still ought to be able to get it to an inch.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Get to a point, get to your plateau, and then move forward from that plateau. Don't do everything all at once, like I said. Just
baby steps.
Little bites.
So if you're full length sizing every time, you got your group sizes down to say 1 1/4 inch to an inch. At that point in time, then you start playing with your fine tuning that load, your powder charge. Then you can start moving your bullets in and out. But only, like Mark said, only do one thing at a time and keep records.
Guys, you got to keep records. I am guilty of going to the range, having one of the best loads I've got, and I get home and, oh, I didn't write that down, or it got lost, or whatever. So, I've had it happen a couple times. Just playing with stuff, not knowing you're going to have a good load. No matter if you think it's not going to be a good load, write it down.
I was in my pickup truck, and we were down there shooting, and I had a whole notebook full of load data for this load. And I left the notebook in the bed of the pickup truck after I put everything in the cabin and all that, and it rained that night. I lost every bit of it.
You and Rain don't get along, do you, Kyle?
No, we don't.
I started keeping a log on my loading bench in the early 90s. I wish I'd have done it from the beginning. But I think it was Johnny I was talking to about it the other day, and he asked me about that. And I told him that I number my loads. I write them all down. And I started with 100,000 just to have a good number. And I'm over 200,000 in my numbering system. And a lot of my loads, I'll just have a number on the box. I won't even bother to write all the data down. I'll just write a number because I've got it back on the bench on a sheet with all the data, brass, number of times loaded, brand of brass, brand of bullets, powder, lot number of powder. All the information is all there.
Hey, I got a question for you guys. Have you ever used this app right here? It's called Ballistic X.
I want to say I've heard of it.
I'm not.
No. What is
I'm
it?
telling you right now, this is one of the best apps. And it is, you do have to pay for it, but this app is unreal. So if you're out developing a new load, you go down, you take a picture of your target, and then it will tell you your group size and everything. Oh, yeah. And then it's also got an option to go in there and you can leave notes on everything. But I use it all the time. It's an awesome app. So
I think I did have it for a while.
yeah, I just thought I'd throw that out there because
Yeah,
you always
that
got
sounds
your
good.
phone on you, and you can. But it's definitely worth the money.
I made log sheets that I keep in different binders on my bench. I have a loading log sheet that's got tabs in it for each caliber that I load, and every time I load, I write it down there as well as on the label for the range box that's going in. I got log sheets for my molds where I write down all the specifics of the mold, how it casts, what temperature it wants to run at, what particular alloy, and that kind of stuff. And I keep a shooting log for the firearms. I get back from the range, I write down in there and under the tab for that particular firearm how many rounds of what went through it. So I don't know if it's OCD. It probably is, but I keep track of everything. And I didn't used to. I'm like CW. I wish that when I first started reloading that I had all of that data, but I didn't start keeping records until probably the 90s or something. And they're handy, as Mock said. You come back from the range and go, okay, what was that? And if you don't have it written down, if it was a great load or if it was a bad load, if it was a bad load, you don't want to do it again. If it was a great load, you do want to do it again. You want to know what it is. So I think it's handy to keep some kind of a log system, where you keep track of what your loads are is always a good idea.
I had it all on my phone through my chronograph till I shot it with Jamie.
And then what's it in the rain?
No, it wasn't raining that day. It was just hotter than crap.
That's what happens in July in Georgia, man. So sub MOA, I'm gonna have to go check that out.
Yeah, I'm gonna try that one too, just for something else to try.
I kind of like paper best. I tried at one point, just fairly recently, last year, trying to get all of the data that I've got on paper into the computer, and I got through a bunch of it and then just kind of gave up on it. There's something about the paper that I like to do, and it's handier for me to look at. It's rather than pull out the phone and have to digging around through the phone trying to find stuff. So I do it on paper. It works for me. You do accumulate stacks of it after a while, though.
I can't remember the name of it. I don't have my phone on me right now. Willie gave me a good one, and it's free. And I put in my information off my 308, and its numbers were damn near spot on with my paper numbers and my other numbers. I'll check that here in just a second. But I mean, if you can go to 1,000-yard range, pull the gun out of the case, dial your dope into the scope, and send a cold bore shot and hit the black, I think that's pretty good dope.
See, that's a big issue, Johnny.
Temperature differences, different brass,
Big time. Yeah.
different lot of the powder. There could be a whole bunch of stuff that.
Yeah, if you get a good node,
like crazy.
Yeah.
If you get a good node in the summer, load it up and keep it for summer. If you get a good load and it's 20 degrees for hunting, then load up a bunch for that 20 degrees. But it's that's a drastic change. Summertime to wintertime.
Non-temperature sensitive powders now, non-reactive powders to temperature, but they can't totally eliminate it.
Right.
I mean, when you're talking shooting at a distance, 50 feet per second is a lot.
Especially 600 yards and further.
Right.
And Tommy Boy answers the question. Could be your eyes, could be your heart rate, could be your sugar level. And Johnny says, that's what I'm thinking, Tommy Boy. It's got to be me. Something has got to be different. Something is different. There's James of Vestige. What's going on, buddy? You got here just in time to say goodnight. There's Mig.
Mig.
Hi, Mig. Bye,
Hi, Mig.
See, that right there works too, 6-shooter. Or you can get you some of these low data cards and just.
Yep.
You can buy books. There's books that are printed that you can buy. NRA has them. A number of different MTM, I think, has one. There's a number of companies that offer them. It'll get you started. Then you can just copy pages and make your own. I made up my own years ago, and I just stuck with it. I used to be able to make stickers and stuff, so I made up cards, index card size, maybe a little smaller, and I could stick them on the box of bullets. And I had a place for my my lot number, my own lot number, my charge number, whatever you want to call it, consecutive number, and that's what got me going. And little by little, I just stopped doing it because I don't need all that information on the box of bullets. All I need is that code number, that lot number, and I can refer back to what I've got. And I got a couple of people that use my loads, and I do the same thing. I just give them that number, and that's on the box, and everything I need is there.
James gone to the rodeo.
Nice.
West Tennessee's fun place. I typically see if I can get this without. I just do the binder notebooks. And
Something else I just thought of, and Tin Man turned me onto this, and they're discontinued, but you could easily make up your own. And those were targets, and they had 3-hole loose leaf binder holes in them. And that I used it a couple times. He sent me some of the targets, and it's really nice. You can put it right in your binder, right with the page or right with the card, and have a target right there instead of drawing it or just writing a good load or whatever.
I've got a real
rated. And then you look back in here, I got some of those page protectors. And put targets in there.
Yeah, perfect.
There was an old TV ad years ago about an older gentleman who walks into a gun shop and he's looking at a rifle, and the shop has an indoor range. The shop owner takes the old guy back into the range and to try the rifle, and the guy bangs one off and it's way high left, and he shoots the next round and it's way low left, and the gun shop owner's behind him at the range and he's just shaking his head. Then this old bird puts one dead center pinwheel and brings the target back up, takes it off, pulls out a 3-ring binder out of his pack, and the holes that he shot fit the 3-ring binder just perfectly.
I saw that. It was funny.
That was a good one. The shop owner's jaw falls open. It was great.
Good night, man.
Not Hasbro.
Yep.
It has.
Good idea to take your target,
I
write
have,
the info down on your target.
Yep.
This app that I was talking about that Willie hooked me up with is SBC Lite, Sierra Bravo Charlie Lite. There is a pay version, but this is the free one, and you can put your dope in here or your data and all that stuff, and all of a sudden you've got your dope chart.
Oh yeah. And that holds a lot of info. Holds everything you'd want.
Yeah, and it's totally free. You put in your distance and your windage and all that stuff, and it tells you where you need to aim. I mean, it's I hadn't played with it a whole lot. Oh, okay.
Ha!
It shows you. So you look at the bottom. You got your yardage and all that info down here at the bottom. There's all kinds of stuff here. A bunch of stuff that may not make sense to a lot of people, but it's here, and it's all free. So yeah, I was thankful to Willie for hooking me up with that. I put in all my info and everything, and it almost dead matches my dope chart that I spent a whole lot more time making than I did punching it into that app.
I got Hornady's ballistic calculator on my phone, and it walked me out to 1,000 yards. See, up there where we shoot, and we got to get off of here. You got a big gap. You go from 300 to 600, and I was dead on at 300. Put that information in there and moved it to 600, and it said blah blah blah, and I dialed blah blah blah. The spotter was watching. He says, "Send it." I sent it. He said, "Dead center, right there, first shot lick on 600 yards." So
Nice.
that's pretty fun, pretty cool. All right, so did we lose somebody?
I think it just changed the sequence.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that more better. Anyway, we got to get out of here and clear the deck for our buddy Gizzard Gary, who's coming on at 10 o'clock. That we'll go through the room. You guys in the side chat, thank y'all so much for being here this evening. What a fun time. So, Mark, you want to start us off?
Well, it's good to be here tonight, guys. Good chat. A lot of stuff out there. Just short and sweet. Y'all have a good weekend. Chris, what you got?
Well, thanks for the invite. Had a great time. Side chat was awesome. Always love doing this show. So we're going to do a live chat Wednesday night, and it's going to kind of be the pre-show before we all head out to Wanamaker. So I'm going to kind of do something fun with that chat. If there's something you guys are looking for, or I guess they pretty much got every gun under the sun that you can think of at this gun show, no matter how hard it is to find. Or so if there's something somebody's looking for, I'm going to kind of take notes, and then when I get out there, I'll shoot some video and take some pictures and stuff of that. So
I know already. I want a CZ P0175 Omega.
all right, we'll write it down. So thanks for the invite, Jamie. I love doing this show on Fridays, man. Had a good time.
Thank you for joining us, man. Always fun to hang out with. Come back anytime. What you got, Walter?
I got some loading. I want to finish up this weekend. Got some 45 ACP I need to load. I need to load some 9mm. I need to load some 45 Colt. I got bullets all cast up and ready to go for that. So I'm not going to do any shooting this weekend. The last time when I was at the range the other night, I shot a whole bunch of 45 ACP, and it just kind of ran havoc with my arthritic wrist, and it's talking to me. So I got to give it a couple days rest. But I'll get up next week and do some shooting, and I'm going to keep working with that GoPro and try to keep doing little bits of range video for you guys. It's problematic at my range, but the next time you see range video from me, I'll show you why it's problematic. But I'm getting it figured out. So that's what I got going on. Nothing thrilling. Same old stuff from me. I appreciate, as always, the invitation to come and participate in this chat. You know, the side chat was rocking again, as it always is. Great questions. We covered a lot of info tonight. You know, more than what we had thought we were going to get to. We did a good job with some questions, I thought. So anyway, that's it for me. How about Mr.
Thanks for being here, Walter. We appreciate you, man. and we did go a lot further on the topics. Gene, what you got working on this week, buddy?
Well, first, thanks for having me. Man, I feel like I'm back at joint vocational school for reloading. I learned so much on these Friday night chats. I love being a part of it. This weekend, tomorrow is practice day. Sunday is the last outdoor event, I believe, for me for the year at Cardinal, USPSA. And other than that, man, just trying to get along the best I can, learn to live, love, laugh, and reload.
Thanks for being here, Gene.
Thank you, sir.
Always fun to hang out with you. Where's Miss Hot Shot tonight? Did you run her off?
No, she's relaxing on the couch. She strained her back a little bit tonight at work.
Uh-oh.
So she's just taking it easy.
Hello, Miss Hot Shot. Hope you
Howdy,
feel
howdy.
What you working on, Kyle? Anything this week?
I don't know about too much. I got a lot of home improvement to do.
Did you get that bench in the house yet?
Not yet. You hadn't come down here to help.
I'll go help. I can't lift 20 pounds.
Shots fired.
I'm fixing to drill holes.
can supervise.
Make up a chest harness so I can pick it up my hand and get two people on the other end.
I got 2 more weeks at limited 20 pounds. I'll head down there in 3 or 4 weeks.
I got that whole stapled together chest thing going on, so I can't lift for a little while.
Yeah. I ain't got a whole lot planned. I need to do something with this bucket of Willie's bullets. Think I might sort through them tomorrow and powder coat some of them and just get them ready to load. Other than that, I got nothing. Thanks everybody for having me here, and thanks for the side chat for being here. And it was a good night tonight. I really appreciate it. Go ahead,
Thanks for being here. Thanks for being here as always, brother. We love you, man. Mr. Brian CW, what you got working on this week? I got to catch up. Even 4 videos today.
I saw one of them. Dang, I gotta play catch up tonight.
Yeah, I think there's 1 or 2 shorts, and then there's three full lengthers.
I watched them all. They were good ones.
Like everybody else, I want to really thank the side chat. Boy, you guys were just going crazy. I was trying to throw out, welcomes and hellos, and I know I missed a few of you. They were just overlapping and running crazy. So, thanks a lot for the participation, and always great to see all the guys in the side chat. And of course, always great to see all you guys on the panel. A lot of you guys I text throughout the week, and we know what's going on back and forth. And it was a really good time. And I was able to get a couple of videos out this week, and I got a couple more out today. And if any of you haven't seen, I'd like to officially thank Tommy Boy. He sent me out a gift, and I made him a video, and I'm really appreciative of it. And I got a video out of the little Lyman Juniors, True Line Junior presses, and I got a couple of molds in, and I got 2 videos out on the molds. One just to show them to you, and then I got them cleaned up and did a little casting with them. And I've still got shotgun videos I got to do because I got some shotgun stuff I want to show off. I was gifted a couple of shotgun loaders last week when Ricky came over, so I want to get those videos up. And I finally found all the parts and I got them all working. And then I got sidetracked with cleaning off a bench. So that'll be better. I'll have room and I'll have a nice surface and I'll be better organized. So I'll make a video there too. So I got a couple more videos to do, hoping to get at least one more this weekend. And hope you guys like it because it's going to be pretty neat.
So Ricky needs to come bearing gifts. I mean, he comes up there and he casts up all your lead and he probably stopped up your commode. I love Ricky. He's so fun to hang around.
Yeah, he's a good guy.
Good dude. Before we get off of here, I might be joining you on some shotgun stuff, CW. But I got this
Look at there.
yesterday.
Let me blow you up. Where
I
you
finally
at?
got a Willie Bullet Man dust
Nice.
cover.
I'm still waiting on mine. Hopefully they're en route.
Yours went out same time mine did, so it should be there in a day or two. I also got this from Big Al. Think I've showed y'all my new competition electronics Pocket Pro 2. Gene will have to teach me how to use this.
Oh, that's nice.
Gene and Chris can help me out with that. One of the things I want to cover in my video, and I was testing the shotgun, so I just put some primers. I mean, it would not fire, so I put some primers in. These come from Mock, and Mock, how you get them so clean? Because after you shoot a primer in one of them, they look like that.
Yeah.
So there's that, and we are looking forward to seeing y'all back again next week. If y'all have any questions, somebody wants to join us on the panel, you got any topic ideas, please give us email at georgiashootingconnection@gmail.com. Other than that, am I forgetting anything? Y'all go check out Gary Gizzard. Check out G23 tomorrow night at 6. Uncle Jim at 8. Foreign and Domestic on the Crazy Scotsman channel at 7 o'clock Sunday night. In the meantime, we hope the Lord blesses y'all all real good. And if He's willing, we'll see you next Friday night at 8 o'clock. Say
Go
goodnight.
dog.
Night,
Night,
everyone.
everybody.
Everyone, God bless.